Well, basically on a lot of chart beverage reefs isn't really shown properly, and they accidentally ran into it.
It's pretty sad.
None of these boats set out to end up here. The ocean doesn't care how experienced you are.
Eventually, if you sail enough, you do run into things. It's not if, it's when.
It doesn't care how much you paid for your boat. It doesn't care how good your charts are.
Okay, we're totally fucking freaking out right now. We just hit a huge fucking rock. This just fucking sucks, so...
And we're remote, man.
We're remote, go.
What it cares about is whether the boat was designed for what actually happens out here. How many bilge pumps you have and whether they're big enough. It cares about your watertight bulkheads and the decisions you made before you left the dock. It cares about your worst case scenarios. Warranty means nothing in the middle of the ocean, and often no one is coming. It's just your boat, everything you did or didn't do to prepare for these situations.
We are going to design and build boats that are going to have a longer life than us.
Last video, we showed you the Nahoa M. This video, we're going to tell you what actually makes a catamaran safe or not. Every decision on this boat came from something real, something that happened to us, or something we watched happen to someone else.
Thank you everyone for watching the last video, and thanks so much for all the comments and the positive feedback. It's been really, really good. We've been working on this for so long that it was a little nerve-wracking actually finally kind of putting it out on YouTube, you know, because there's always opinions on YouTube.
We are humans and we do get hurt by online comments is what Ashley's saying.
But not very much anymore. But it's been really good, and we're really happy and grateful for everyone watching the last video and giving us all the comments and feedback and everything that you have.
This video and the next kind of videos are kind of revealing all of the philosophies and the lessons that we've put into the Nahoa M. To start off with, we're going to talk about some of the lessons that we've seen out there, some of the disasters we've seen, and with every disaster, what we're trying to do is take a lesson away from it, both in terms of seamanship, but also in terms of boat building.
Yeah, and one of the first things we're going to talk about is water intrusion. And water intrusion in a boat can be anything from like a pinprick hole that you can't figure out where it's dripping from, to a gushing, gaping hole from like a giant saildrive that has blown off. And it can be like bad charts, or it could be like you just really weren't paying attention.
Okay, we're totally fucking freaking out right now. We just hit a huge fucking rock. We've never hit anything before.
And we're remote, man.
We're remote, go. Then we're gonna hit it again if we're not careful. I gotta turn this around. What the hell? He drove us right into a rock. A big one. And the whole right side of the boat came out of the water. I do not handle these kind of things very well. Not at all.
Oh, we're okay. What? We're fine. Oh, my heart's beating. There's gel coat damage. There's like scrapes on the forward. Biggest damage is to the keel. A little bit of fiberglass showing through on the keel. But there's no holes.
Are you sure?
There's no holes. Let me just check the bilge. I think we're okay. No cracking, there's no water coming in. I think we're fine. Got lucky on this one, man. Got real lucky. Well, shit happens, man. We've been sailing for 4 or 5 years, you know? Shit eventually will hit the fan, and the boat just hit the rock. The worst case scenario did not happen, so let's continue on our jolly way and have a jolly day. Who cares? This won't even make the cut. This is not even going on YouTube. Cut! I need a drink after all that.
I opened my can a long time ago. He's like, don't open that. I was like, but it's delicious and I want it right now.
You can open it.
We've been drinking these sparkling electrolyte drink mixes from Element. They're absolutely fantastic. They're the new 12-ounce cans. They have 500 milligrams of sodium, 100 milligrams of potassium, and 30 milligrams of magnesium. They have no food dyes or weird fillers.
So on the boat, we have these little packets that we use all the time, and it's the same stuff, but here we use the cans.
I love this lemonade salt, but they've just come out with a pink lemonade flavor, and they only do it, it's a special flavor that's like the summertime flavor, and I love it. And it's just dropped for insiders. You have to order the insider package to get it, and it's so cool.
So yeah, if you want to try Element, you can get a free 8-count sample pack with any purchase at drinkelement.com. That's drinklmnt.com/Nahoa, and try either all the flavors or share them with a salty friend. We love this stuff.
Get that pink lemonade one. Get it with the insider package. I just ordered one.
So to start off with, we're going to talk about some scenes we saw in our first Pacific crossing. This was back in 2018, 2019, I want to say. We had just left the Cook Islands. Cook Islands are a set of islands just past the Society Islands. So you go through French Polynesia, and then the Cook Islands, then Tonga, then Fiji, and then either New Zealand or Australia. So you're kind of like halfway across the Pacific, I'd say, maybe more, 3/4. And you get comfortable. You are comfortable, at crossing oceans, comfortable with night shift at this point. There's not much traffic out in the Pacific, to be honest. There's not major shipping lanes. It's not a pinch point like around, the Malacca Straits or the bottom of Africa. So you just relax. And that's what we did. And other people did as well.
When we arrived at Beveridge Reef all those years ago, there was actually a boat floating in the anchorage, still afloat, but it was a little heavy in the back end, and it was sinking.
Oh, it's starting to sink.
And we were there probably 2 or 3 days, and the 2 or 3 days we were there, it was getting lower and lower and lower and lower and lower in the water, like it was bad. And what had happened is they'd actually not zoomed in on their maps and came crashing and surfing over the waves onto the reef. It's not a big reef.
It's dry at low tide. It's covered. The waves come across at high tide, which makes the anchorage absolutely awful to stay in for more than 2 to 3 days.
It's pretty tragic. Gorgeous boat. Any rudders or anything. Probably all got torn off when they drug it off the reef.
Yeah, so this boat had surfed over the reef
in the middle of the night
and lost their sail drives and their rudders, and it didn't look good. But basically, there were huge holes in the back of their boats that was causing the boat to start sinking in the back end.
What's miraculous is that the boat did not self-combust or completely destroy itself as it surfed onto that reef in the middle of the night. They took a few big waves, I think, landed on the reef in the middle of the night, and then did a mayday call, and someone answered either inside the atoll or near there. It was a big
like a fishing boat inside the atoll.
Yeah, like a big commercial kind of boat. Since they were stuck on the reef and it was probably more like low tide, they waited till high tide, and that commercial boat was able to actually winch them off the edge of the atoll, the edge of the reef, into the atoll. What was remarkable is that the major water intrusion was actually just coming through the aft sail drives. I mean, I think the keels were fine, the bows were fine. It was simply the rudders and the sail drives. And
they were gone.
They were gone.
Yeah.
That lesson has stuck with us. I think each one of these kind of experiences, whether it was Tanda Maleka in Huahine, they also surfed in onto the reef due to charts not being accurate, or this privilege catamaran in Beveridge. And we have thought about it over and over again as we were designing this boat and thinking about what are the major vulnerabilities on a catamaran, and there are really two. One is the rudder and the other one is the sail drive. So right here I have a diagram of our engine room. This is longitudinal section. I'm going from aft to bow, and you can see that what we have done here is we have opted for a shaft drive, and there's a very specific reason for that. One is if you put a sail drive off the back of the engine, it comes down here approximately like so, and then there's a huge diaphragm down below. That diaphragm is, I just did ours last season, is quite large. The hole in the bottom of the boat is as big as my head, essentially. This lower diaphragm is what keeps the water out, right? And then I started looking a little bit closer at this one, and I noticed, holy shit, there's actually a crack in it. Look at this. But that is the start of having the whole hull go underwater.
Like, to have a pump to keep up with that kind of hole would be insane. Like, I don't think you could.
Yeah, I don't think there's even a pump that would keep up with that.
We changed a through hull in the water because we do things like that when we need to, and a hole this big, the stream of water coming in was insane.
You want to see it?
Yeah, let's see it. Oh my God.
What's interesting though is the water pressure at 1 foot below the surface is only 1 psi. It's nothing. So it's not that there's a lot of pressure, it's just a lot of volume of water coming in. Basically, the reason sail drives exist is because you're able to place the engine further aft in the boat. If you were to have a shaft drive here, you would need so much more room because the angle of a shaft drive is about so. So you need to move the whole engine forward, which would eat into the living space instead of just putting it under the bed, or in some boats they have it actually in the aft portion of the boat.
In order to overcome the engine compartment issue where we don't want our engines under our beds anymore, we've actually had to use a different kind of transmission called a V-drive to solve that problem of keeping the engine as far aft. We have big engine rooms to accommodate the shaft, and we also are using this different kind of transmission called a V-drive, which I don't really know a lot about, but I understand the concept.
That's kind of how we dealt with that. It doesn't answer the question of the rudder. So when a rudder gets knocked off, there is consequences that often are missed. Because again, you have a hole, maybe not quite as big as a sail drive, but you still have a hole as big as a rudder post, probably as big as this, maybe a little bit bigger, which is going to let water in. So what we've done is, well, what Pierre has done, our naval architect, he has added a frame in front of the rudder, which will contain all the water that could spill into the mechanical space or the engine room.
A lot of boats do actually have rudders that can come out in the water, like ours can. But other boats, some boats out there cannot. And like if the rudder comes out or breaks or fails, a lot of water comes in the boat into that compartment, and sometimes the engines are in that compartment. So it's actually a kind of a thing.
What are the risks for you? What risks you identify? Orcas and eat something.
Orcas, I think, are minimal risk. Honestly, it's one small area in the world. Bigger risks would be hitting a submerged log. And I mean, a lot of these things too are, you think about it one way, okay, we hit a submerged object and then it hits the rudder or the propeller shaft. But for example, I know of a boat, Catamaran Impy, they hit a floating log off of Brazil and it crushed their crossbeam at the front. The whole mast came down. So, you know, there's many different consequences when hitting stuff. It's not just underwater, it's above water too. So sometimes it doesn't matter what you do, you're going to be in a lot of pain.
Yes, and maybe the better system is to be agile. Fast is also a question of security, because if there is a weather system that running and you want to escape, to go fast is, you know, if you have a very strong boat, you can go fast and you just have to submit the bad weather. It's not a good solution.
We have to be careful when we talk about these things because hitting a submerged object is very rare.
Yeah.
But encountering weather is very common when you're sailing. So it's more important to go fast than to have a skegged rudder maybe. Now, we've had a few comments of people questioning why would we go with aluminum for a hull material, and I think it's a valid question. So if you hit a rock or a reef or a submerged object, you are basically putting 15, 20, 25 tons going at 5 knots, 10 knots in contact with a stopped object. That's a serious impact and it's going to cause a lot of force. Now, if you compare, for example, carbon fiber, fiberglass, those camps with aluminum, the difference is that, yes, carbon fiber, for example, is extremely strong. But the difference is that aluminum will bend before it breaks. It's called ductility. And for something to be ductile is enormously important when you're sailing.
Well, if you run into something,
If you run into something.
I hope it's not important for sailing. But it is a nice thing to think you have that safety margin for the sailing.
Water intrusion isn't always loud. It doesn't always mean you have a loud impact. We've had this before. We were sailing in the Banda Sea just through Indonesia, and the first time we knew that something was wrong was when I think you heard the bilge alarm go off. We were in the middle of the ocean, no land in sight. We hadn't hit anything, and you heard the alarm go off.
What day is it? Is it your birthday too?
Oh, it's my birthday too.
Happy birthday to you. Don't you just love it when the bilge fills with water?
Wind was howling through the rigging, the boat was creaking, and there's waves outside. It brings up 2 points. One, bilge alarms are super, super important because without them, you don't know what's going on sometimes because water intrusion is silent often. And two, in our case, luckily we had fresh water in our engine room.
This whole engine room is full of water. There's a bulkhead right here, and this engine room doesn't have an automatic bilge pump. There's no way of knowing that this thing is filling up.
I think all that happened is the hot water tank hose had burst, or the hose clamp had come off and filled the engine room with the contents of our fresh water tank, which gave it
a lot, actually.
It was quite a bit. It gave it a nice clean, but it didn't cause any corrosion. It didn't come up over the engine or anything, so it was fine.
Yeah, it wasn't that much water. And so one thing we've done in this boat is to set up multiple different bilge alarms throughout the hulls in the just separate compartments. I think right now we only have 2
on our current boat.
And there's little holes drilled through between the different compartments so that it all drains into the main bilge. And with the new boat, we're going to have actually separate.
Yeah.
We watched this boat being towed in because it was sinking. Let's look at what actually caused it, because the fix is surprisingly simple. This boat is aluminum. Most people think aluminum is bulletproof. It's not. What happened here looks catastrophic, but it didn't start that way. The hole that sank this boat is tiny.
It looks like it's just one hole that punched through the bottom of the boat and then slowly filled it up. It's not a big hole, like maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches across.
So if we take that hole and apply some basic math to it, we know that pressure increases with depth. In salt water, that works out to about 0.43 psi per foot. At just 2 feet below the waterline where this hole happened, that's roughly 0.87 psi, call it 1 psi. Now, applying a flow rate formula to this, at 2 feet of depth, water is moving through that hole at roughly 11 feet per second. That's about 1,600 gallons per hour, in theory. In the real world, accounting for turbulence and inefficiency, call it 800 to 1,500 gallons per hour. To put that into perspective, a standard 12-volt bilge pump rated at 800 gallons per hour costs about $50. A 1,500 gallon per hour pump, just over 100. 2 pumps and this boat likely stays afloat.
Now, I don't know if that boat had any watertight bulkheads. For example, on the Nahoa M, we have 4 watertight bulkheads. That gives you a total of 6 different compartments to stop water ingress. Basically, if anything happens in any one of these compartments, the water is contained to that area. On top of that, we're going to have 6 individual bilge alarms. Now, that doesn't solve everything, but it solves a lot. Now, to deal with flooding, we're going to have 6 separate high-capacity centrifugal bilge pumps. Each of these pumps can do 4,000 gallons per hour. That means you have a total of 24,000 gallons per hour of flooding control.
So construction matters, absolutely, but fit out matters as well. Maintenance matters, redundancy matters, because boats rarely fail all at once. They fail slowly until suddenly they don't. Part of it is on the owner, part of it is on the builder, part of it is on what the consumer wants to spend.
Yeah, so water intrusion has been something that we are always thinking about. It doesn't matter if it's trees, whales, fads, fishing attractant device. There's sometimes metal cylinders that are pointy at one end. It's always a bit of a concern.
No, I think it's an overturned boat. We found an overturned kayak. It's kind of crazy. I hope there's no one on it or around it.
It is rough out here.
There's so much stuff in the water. There's been lumber, there's been kayaks. There's a huge piece of lumber that we came across just now. But that would do a bit of damage if you hit it perpendicular.
It is that. I think eventually, if you sail enough, you do run into things. And it's not if, it's when. Having a boat that can handle it and handle the water intrusion as best as possible is something that I'm really excited for.
Let's move on and talk about structural safety, because there was something that came up this year, in the last few months, in French Polynesia, in an area that we transited twice now.
Yeah, at first I thought it was AI, and I was like, how could this even happen? Like, it just seemed so unreal. So what happened is a boat, fiberglass boat, had flipped over. You can Google it and you'll find everything online. I'm not exactly sure what make of boat it was. There hasn't been a lot released since then. But the people were rescued, thankfully. But it flipped, and you just like, you think, that doesn't happen to boats that are designed sort of conservatively, really, to not flip. Like it didn't look like a racing boat. Let's just put it that way.
I'm going to take a moment here and talk about something that is incredibly important when it comes to sailboats. What actually stops the thing from tipping over? It turns out it all comes down to one number. Naval architects call it the righting moment, and whether the boat designer respects it or not, the difference between a very nice day on the water and a bad Tuesday is the righting moment. So let's start with a monohull, the classic sailboat, a deep keel, lead bulb, the whole thing acting like a giant pendulum strapped to your bottom. When the wind pushes you over, the pendulum swings out sideways, gravity grabs it and yanks it back down. That yank is your righting moment. The more you heel, the bigger the yank, until about 55 degrees. Past that, the keel starts to lose leverage. And then at 120 degrees, something weird happens. The line crosses zero and goes negative. Your cozy little cabin is now a ceiling, and the boat, perfectly happy, perfectly stable, perfectly upside down, until the ocean decides to roll it back and bring it upright for you. Now, a catamaran doesn't have a keel. It doesn't have a heavy pendulum. So what holds it up? Well, its width. And remarkably, it's actually more stable than a monohull to a certain extent. If you watch this curve, the righting angle curve, it shoots up almost vertically. At the heel angles you actually sail at, a cat pushes back 5 times harder than a comparable monohull. You can set a glass of wine on the galley counter in 20 knots of breeze and walk away from it. But here's the catch. At 14 degrees, yes, just 14 degrees, the windward hull lifts. And at that moment, the curve falls off a cliff. No keel to catch it, no gravity yanking it back down. So once a cat goes past its limit, it goes. So the whole design challenge becomes one question. How far are you away from that cliff? Now, looking at this picture, there are 2 catamarans. On the left, you have a Nahoa M. And on the right, you have a sort of charter style catamaran. It has a flybridge, high center of gravity, a rig on top of that flybridge, adding even a higher center of gravity. Now, down below, you have 2 curves comparing the righting moments between the two. And when you compare a catamaran to a catamaran, an apples to apples comparison, the difference is striking. Not all catamarans are built to the same standard. A cat with a tall, powerful rig, a narrow beam, or a high flybridge will have a much lower righting moment, a shorter, flatter curve, which means less resistance to inversion. A cat designed with a wider beam, a shorter rig, and a lower center of gravity builds significantly taller curve. More margin before that cliff we talked about. So for the Nahoa M, we specifically increased the beam from 8 to 8.3 meters to make escape hatches optional. At that width, the boat exceeds the ISO standard for inversion resistance. I know it's a mouthful, but that's the threshold where the rules say you don't need them. And that's the kind of thing worth asking any designer or builder. Can I see the stability curve? If they show it to you, you'll know what you're looking at now. And if they don't show it to you, that tells you something too.
So there's a lot of things that have gone into this boat that you don't even see on a boat show or on a brochure on a website. And
It's all related to safety. It's like super important.
One of the things we've been working on is our escape hatches. So if you look at these escape hatches, they're actually super close to the water line. I mean, they're maybe 6 inches off the water. That's part of the problem, because when you are at sea, they're always submerged, and worse than that, they're getting pounded. Escape hatches are one of those things where I just feel like it should be probably underneath the bridge deck right here, outside of the water,
or this whole tunnel should be higher, so that then you can mount the escape hatches much higher, or not have escape hatches. That's an argument to be had. So there's a lot of things that have gone into this boat that you don't even see on a boat show or on a brochure on our website, and
it's all related to safety. It's like super important for us, and
it's super important to us because we're essentially designing this boat for ourselves, for our family to sail around the world again and go into places where there's even more remote than where we've been. I haven't even talked about this. All the through hulls are going to be in the engine space, in the mechanical space, so that there's nothing in the accommodation space that can actually, you know, cause a flood, except for one through hull, which is the
toilet.
Block water out. You don't want to run that line all the way back there because it clogs. It's a lot of thought that goes into this kind of stuff that never surfaces, and I think it's valuable bringing it up.
Yeah, we've also done things that are, we think, really just should be on almost every boat, but our lifelines on Nahoa are low, and what we wanted to do was raise them up. So when we're walking on the side decks or on the front deck or to the helm at all, there is this high, just under a meter, I think, lifeline right there, and it just, I don't understand why other people don't do that. It's so nice to know that you're not gonna like hit it at your knee and just like kind of keep going.
I was thinking about that today. I think if I've thought about that a lot on our current boat. It's like it would cause me, it's like a tripping hazard.
Yeah.
It would cause me to do a somersault as I go over.
It's good for the kids.
It's like, yeah, it's good for kids, for 4-year-olds.
So anyway, yeah.
So yeah,
like, a lot of things like that that aren't obvious when you're looking at a picture. One of the biggest dangers out there besides water intrusion is fire. And it's something we've been thinking a lot about as well. I mean, the boat is alloy, so it's not intrinsically like a fire hazard.
Combustible?
Yeah. So then you go and you put insulation on it. So we've been really working to find insulation that is
fire resistant.
Yeah, not super flammable. And we're also trying to get it so like the boat doesn't grow mold and all these things. So we've got, we're doing a different kind of insulation with a
Desicoat
barrier. Yeah.
Desicoat barrier, which is a ceramic kind of spray on, a couple millimeters thick on the actual aluminum shell, which provides a little bit of heat transfer prevention as well as mold and mildew. And then on top of that, we're doing like a 50 mil closed cell foam, not a spray on, because a spray on foam, a polyurethane closed cell spray on foam will add to the fire. We're doing an insulation that will not add to the fire. And then, of course, the engine rooms, since they're away from the accommodation space and where all the mechanical equipment is, will have, you know, automatic fire extinguishers. Again, insulation that does not contribute to the fire. If you have any questions or comments, do put them down below. We love reading them, especially the last one. They're all so positive. But if you have questions or critical questions, we'd love to hear them. If you're interested in one of these boats, get in contact with us. We have just a few build slots available. Do get in contact at nahoayachts.com. There's a sign-up form, as well as a contact us form if you want more information.
It's not that bad.
Sure felt that bad. Fucking felt like we climbed a mountain on the starboard side.
That was annoying.
Yeah, you hit a rock.
I slowed
big
down.
rock.
I was in neutral. And
You hit it pretty fast, dude, and it's on satellite imagery. Can't even look at the camera while you're talking.
she was standing on the front. She should have seen it. She was bow watch.
I was not bow watch. I was looking for mooring balls with the binoculars, not down in the ocean.